Hello and welcome, my friends. 'Twas the night before kickoff. And by kickoff, I mean, of course, I'm talking about the football game tomorrow night between the Washington Commanders and the Denver Broncos. Probably one of the most anticipated NFL games of the whole season. We've got the 3-8 Commanders going up against the 9-2 Broncos tomorrow night. Although the equalizers for the Commanders are the game's supposed to have bad weather. It's supposed to have bad weather as of right now. And overall, yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of equalizers, uh, that could prevent this from being. Hi, Kodiak. Hello. Hello. Very nice to see you in here, Cobra. I'm going to show the comments on the stage right now. Going to show the comments on the stage. Oh, yeah. Hello. Looks like we got a nice little crowd here already. What's up? Yo, great to see all the regulars back in here. Hello. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving as well. I did have a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, I just went to my grandparents' house, ate a lot of nice little good food. Yeah, I have to fix something with my computer real quick. But yeah, I hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving. Hope you all had an amazing Black Friday as well. I don't know. Do you guys go shopping on Black Friday? Just let me know. Let's see. What do we got going on here on my computer? Okay. All right. We all good. Yeah, either way, I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. And obviously, we're here to talk about the game tomorrow. We're here to talk about the game tomorrow between the Broncos and the Commanders. And overall, I feel like it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a doozy. And I just can't wait. I cannot wait for it. I enjoyed watching the Chiefs game on Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was amazing. It was definitely a where's my phone sight to behold. Speaking of that one, wasn't it hilarious? Wasn't it hilarious that the Chiefs Kingdom is like criticizing the reffing after what we've had to deal with? Yeah. Duke going to the college football playoff, I doubt it. Like, they're not biased towards the ACC. They're biased towards the Big 12. Duke is going to the ACC Chizzy. That's crazy. Yeah, because SMU lost. Didn't they lose against Cal tonight? That's insane. That's insane. That's like actually insane. Woof. Yeah, that's absurd. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna go to CFB top 25 scores on Google real quick. Man, if you guys play the college football video game, you shouldn't be surprised because Duke always becomes like insane. Hold on. I might still zoomed in. Here we go. Okay. Actually, I just want CFB scores. Okay, yep. Looks like the Calgorithm got SMU tonight. Let's see what else we got going on. Tulane. Is Tulane going to make the playoff? Or are they going to give a CUSA team the benefit of the doubt? Notre Dame. I heard that Stanford may have taken Jeremiah Love out of the playoffs. Is that true? Is that true? Because he had an injury, didn't he? Vandy beat Tennessee. Okay. Okay, so look, we got BYU versus Texas Tech in the Big 12 Chizzy. Georgia versus Bama in the SEC Chizzy. Tulane versus North Texas in the CUSA Chizzy. Pac-12 championship is Oklahoma or Oregon State against Washington State. Yeah. Darian Mensah about to be the most popular person in North Carolina for the next week. No. Tulane gets into the college football playoff over Duke. I don't know, man. Once again, I just feel like they wouldn't give it to. There's no way. There's got to be no way. Like I said, I just don't know what they would have to do to give it to a Conference USA team. Because a Conference USA team making I don't know what would have to happen for that to be the case. I genuinely just don't. Ugh. Either way, that's kind of crazy. Um, Either way, yeah, there's a lot of other interesting things that happen. So, and then Notre Dame doesn't get their conference jersey because they're independent. It's funny. I knew nothing about colleges and like conferences until that loss Tulane took. Yeah, a team that loses to UTSA is not going to make the college football playoff. I'm sorry. Um, what I think might be BS though is if they said they don't want to punish teams for losing in the conference championship game, but I feel like if BYU loses again against Texas Tech, I feel like they're as good as gone, even though they shouldn't be. I feel like that's just what's going to happen because that's how these things work. Um, Speaking of, how about my Arizona Wildcats? 5 conference champions. Oh, I actually didn't know that. Another G5. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah. Um RIP the Pac-12 because obviously you guys know I love the Pac-12. I come on here wearing Washington shirts, Oregon shirts, USC shirts, UCLA shirts. But my beloved Arizona Wildcats won the Territorial Cup yesterday. They won the Territorial Championship, so let's go. Let's go, Zona. I'm really stoked about that, actually, so yeah, good stuff. Let's see. Thank you. Even though I didn't play in the game, but thank you. I appreciate your congratulations on my behalf. Yeah, this Jeff Sims guy, I remember he used to play at Nebraska, and I remember during Coach Prime's first year with Nebraska or with CU, CU had Nebraska like week 2 or week 3 in that college football season, and Jeff Sims was just absolutely lost. Like he is the definition of like actually a running back. What's the Pac-12 championship? It's going to be Oregon State versus Washington State because those are the only two teams actually in the Pac-12 right now. I'm trying to think, but if it was like if the Pac-12 was still like a real thing, it would be, it would be Oregon versus not Arizona, probably Oregon versus USC. Yeah, it would definitely be Oregon versus USC if it was still a thing. My dad worked for U of A, but we lived down the street from ASU. Who'd you cheer for then? You a Sun Devil or you a Wildcat? Speaking of Wildcats, I am also very excited to see how RJ Harvey plays tomorrow. I think, my boy Marky Sports did a live stream and he made something very clear. Like, eventually we need to see what we have at RJ Harvey. Eventually we need to just give him the workload. And I feel like tomorrow night's a perfect opportunity. Coming off a bye, everybody's going to be fresh. And theoretically, this is a game that should be within your control, although the weather's supposed to be very bad and Terry McLaurin is back. So I do think those are big equalizers for the Commanders, in addition to the fact that you have to fly across the country. Boise State Pac-12 champions soon. Very well could be the case. Like, I know that people say that for the memes or whatever, but this is, yeah. Boise State Pac-12 champions soon because they're bringing Gonzaga, SDSU, UNLV. Wait, no, UNLV didn't declare yet. CSU. Trying to think, is Wyoming in the new Pac-12? I don't remember who's all in the new Pac-12. I just remember it's like CSU, Gonzaga, Boise State, and a bunch of other schools. It's basically like an upgraded Mountain West, isn't it? My sis graduated from ASU. My mom worked for ASU. Oh, fire. My sister graduated from CU Boulder, and I don't cheer for them. Actually, I do. They're like my 5th favorite college team, but she graduated from Boulder, about 45 minutes away from us. But yeah, RJ Harvey needs to tear it up tomorrow. He does. I 1000% agree with you. And if he doesn't tear it up tomorrow, like, once again, I'm disappointed with how he's been as a pure runner so far. I have no issues with how he's been as a receiver. I think he's coming to that role very, very nicely. But But what games am I looking forward to tomorrow? Well, I will show you. Let's go a little preview of all these games. I'm actually really looking forward to the Texans and Colts. I think the Texans win this game. I'm going to be honest. I think, um with the news coming out about Daniel Jones potentially having a fractured fibula, I think it's really interesting. I think that's a really, really interesting piece of information, to be quite honest. And yeah, if RJ Harvey does not ball out tomorrow, it might be time to mock Jeremiah Love as a Bronco in 2026. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be in his range. Also, my trash can's a little full. I'm going to move that real quick. All right. Yeah, I think the Texans win this game. I don't care about the fact that it's in Indy. Especially with CJ Stroud back. Like, I know Davis Mills held down the fort as well as he could, but I think the Texans take that one. I just don't think they're going to be equipped to deal with Houston's really aggressive front. Saints, Dolphins, I really don't care about that one. It would be cool to see the Saints get a top pick, though. Falcons, Jets, another one I really don't care about. I think, the Falcons have a propensity to lose these sorts of games. I remember they gave Arizona their first win of the season 2 years ago when Arizona was like 0-8 or something like that. Apparently, the weather for this game is supposed to be bad. Apparently, San Francisco, Cleveland, like the weather's supposed to be just miserable. Daniel Jones breaks his leg against that Texans pass rush. I hope not. That'd be sad. I'm a fan of Danny Dimes. I'm really happy for how this year's gone for him. Let's see what else. What else we got? Carolina is surprisingly making a lot of noise, but if they couldn't beat San Francisco, they're definitely not beating the Rams. Jacksonville should take care of business against Tennessee, but I don't know. You get a young quarterback that is clearly playing for something, clearly plays with a lot of pride and passion against a division rival, then we'll see. Cardinals, Bucks by 50. They haven't been as good. Do you guys think Max Brosmer is gonna have any legitimacy? Like, Max Brosmer has the chance to do something absolutely legendary tomorrow. Literally nobody knew who this guy's name was a week ago, and now he's going to start for the Minnesota Vikings. Cool story. I really hope he balls out. I would love for Max Brosmer to. Bryce Young is not a franchise guy, never was, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the thing. I understand that a lot of people thought he was an elite processor, an elite brain at the QB level. And I respect that, but I don't get the process of taking a 5'10" quarterback with not a lot of physical upside at number 1 overall. Then again, if you put me in that draft, I would have taken Anthony Richardson number 1 overall. I was really high on him as a prospect, but and while Bryce Young is not flailing out of the league like AR is, I never saw him as a franchise dude either, to be completely honest. I want to see Shedeur play if he does any good. Yeah, that might be interesting. Against a pretty good 49ers defense, what I expect that to happen, I expect this game to be really ugly. I expect Myles Garrett to get probably 12 sacks on his own. And then I expect it to be 15 to 3 San Francisco. It's going to be an ugly game, but McCaffrey's going to catch probably 18 balls. Bills, Steelers. This one's big. This one's big for a playoff race because on one hand, I do not want the Steelers to mid their way into the playoffs. On the other hand, it's just do I want Baltimore in? No, I don't. But I don't want to see Pittsburgh in the playoffs because it's just not good football. I don't think they should be rewarded for what they do. But we need teams in the wild card to keep winning. If Buffalo lost, that would not be the end of the world, especially because they have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh. But yeah, I doubt Max Brosmer does well. I just don't see it. Yeah. Doubt Max Brosmer does well. He might be. Just never underestimate a guy with nothing to lose by going out there. Sometimes it turns out like Brock Purdy, other times it turns out like Jaron Hall. Some Colts fans still believe AR is that guy. It's kind of sad. Yeah, the thing that told me AR was cooked was not losing the job to Daniel Jones, but seeing how well Daniel Jones has played and largely the same offensive personnel. Now I know Daniel AR didn't have Tyler Warren last year, but he is literally one of the worst field processors I think we've probably ever seen. Him and Justin Fields both. Richardson is better suited to be a tight end. I wouldn't go that far. I think he's better suited to be offensive skill guy for sure. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely not a quarterback. He's definitely not an NFL quarterback. AR3 is the discount Tebow. That's funny. Bills need to get well against the Steelers. They do. Big time. That could be a get-right game for them. But then we have the NFC North champion. Like, if the Bengals get hot, that's a team I don't think anybody wants to see in the playoffs because their defense actually really showed up against Lamar. And I know that Lamar has not been the same player since he came back from his injury, but still. LA, this game, SoFi Stadium, is going to be packed with Raider fans. Unfortunately, I still think the Chargers pull it off. Tomorrow's either a win-win for us either way. Like, I don't want the Raiders to have anything to play for. Like, I don't want them to get some momentum before we play them in their house, before we play them in Vegas in a week from now. But also, yeah, Richardson is injury prone. That's another good point. Like, tight end, those guys get injured a shitload, and Richardson is not suited to do that. AR3 is also lazy and does not want it enough to play in the NFL. You might be right. Because a lot of the reports from Colts training camp were Daniel Jones did not win the job from his on-field play. Because honestly, if you look at the preseason and the team tried to gaslight you into saying Daniel Jones won the job because he was better than Richardson in the preseason, it's not true. They had very similar numbers, and Daniel Jones played wildly pedestrian. So it's not even like AR played any good at all. But from Daniel Jones showing up early to the facility, showing up and, befriending the wide receivers and all that. So that's how Daniel Jones won the job. I mean, I don't think that's how Daniel Jones won the job. I think that's how AR lost it. But credit to Daniel Jones. He's had a hell of a year. Even if he has slowed down as of late. Then obviously we got this game. I'll have my thoughts on it. This could be interesting because, I know the Giants don't have Thibodeau, which is like a big hit to their pass rush. But I don't know. If Jameis Winston was playing in this game, I would feel a lot better about their chances, but he's not. It is going to be Jackson Dart, and I mean, just don't underestimate the Giants organizationally having a chance to just completely screw over New England. But at the end of the day, it's probably Patriots by like at least 28. Which brings us to this game, okay? Brings us to this game, 9-2 Broncos at 3-8 Washington Commanders. Sunday Night Football, we have a chance to redeem ourselves after that hugely embarrassing performance we had on Thursday Night Football earlier this month. Yeah, overall, I just don't think we're going to have that good of a game. I think that the Broncos I think the Broncos will win, but this might be another ugly game. I'm going to be a big Giants fan. Dude, same. Yeah, exactly. Like, and also, isn't it so Giants that Abdul Carter is like on the rookie trajectory that he is? Like, Abdul Carter looked like a blue chip, can't miss edge rushing prospect, and those guys are easy to evaluate. Like, edge rushers are not that hard to evaluate, especially the top of the line ones in the draft. And when those guys come out, you get like the Chase Youngs who, injuries kind of derailed him, but he was an amazing prospect. You get the Micah Parsons, even though he didn't go in the top 10, but we knew he was still a pretty good player. You get like trying to think of other examples. You get like the Aiden Hutchinsons, and all that. So edge play is relatively easy to evaluate. Isn't it so Giants that like he hasn't really panned out so far? What happened to everyone? After the bye, it seems everybody is down on Denver. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just not a lot of local buzz. Like, I think, going into the Chiefs game, there was a lot more local buzz, and it was the talk of the town, and, everybody was so amped up for that game. Then we win, and I think that, off a bye, playing against a team that hasn't had a very good year. I think that's what made a lot of people, I don't think they're any less excited about the Broncos, but I understand why this game is not making a lot of headlines locally, especially when the Avs and Nuggets are doing what they're doing. Q Robinson is having a better year than Abdul Carter. Yeah, that's insane to me. Like the fact that that's even a thing, that just shows you that the Giants, I don't know, you keep whiffing on your picks. That's bad. What's wrong with Abdul Carter? He just hasn't gotten going for a reason. I'm going to see if I can find out what Giants fans are. I don't know. He missed a walkthrough in the game before they played Green Bay. He missed a team walkthrough, and I remember Keon Coleman did that, and he's basically been benched. He's probably getting cut. But yeah, showing up late and sleeping in meetings. Didn't Carter want LT number and proved he didn't deserve it? Yeah, I know. That's like Pac-Man Jones getting Champ Bailey's number and then him, I don't know, getting cut not that long later. Okay, so also Sunday night I have a late night because obviously I'm going to be doing this tomorrow night. Don't know if I'm gonna ask Mark and Jeremy if I can hop on with them because Monday morning I get to have nose surgery. So hopefully going to the operating room feeling pretty good. What they're going to do, they're going to cut open my sinuses, especially because, and that's going to help because I have a deviated septum and I can't really sleep that well with it. So I cannot wait to have nose surgery. And, once again, I just want to remind y'all because no idea when I'm going to be back. It could be the next day. It could be a week from that. It could be a week after that. It could be 2 weeks after that. Who knows? But hopefully I go into the operating room feeling well. Nothing would be worse than my last night before going under for about 7 to 8 days. Feeling bad. Oh, but I'll look up Abdul Carter stats for you. 1 sec. Bo Nix will graze our screens tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it, dude. Me too. Here's a question: who's Collinsworth going to swallow or glaze on Sunday? That's a good question. Seems like he just likes to hone in on a guy like during the games and just glaze and glaze or whatever. Well, it's a whole lot of nothing to answer your question. To answer your question, Abdul Carter, actually, he really seems to like line play and quarterbacks. So I'm thinking, yeah, Quinn's a good answer. Maybe Benito. But either way, these are Abdul Carter's stats. I know that, playing defense doesn't necessarily reflect in the box score, but at a certain point, you got to produce, man. At a certain point, you just got to step up and produce. And maybe if you're the 3rd overall pick and you're asking for Lawrence Taylor's number, get more than a half sack. Yes, I know y'all are going to be here when I get back. But once again, I just want to let you guys know that I'm not leaving or anything, especially because we're getting into the heat of the year. But I might be out for a while. I don't know. It's like one of those timelines that could be really up in the air. But all right. So let's go to who was I looking for? Oh yeah. Abdul Carter. Okay. He has 38 pressures, which that's not terrible. It really isn't terrible. I think, the top of the line edge rushers probably all have a little more, but hold on. I think if I had to guess, I would say that's like 35th in the NFL or something like that. Okay. I underestimated it. It's tied for 23rd. So it looks like Abdul Carter is getting the pressures, but it seems like maybe he's just struggling with the finishing. It seems like maybe Abdul Carter is just struggling to, finish his sacks or whatever. And I'm trying to think, how is he on run defense? Okay. 47.1 grade, that's not very good at all. But PFF really hates guys that miss tackles. And I don't agree with it in defensive linemen for particular because if you're even if you're doing something as simple as laying a hand on the guy, you're pretty much slowing them down. Now, linebackers, I get it. No excuse. If you're a linebacker and you miss a tackle, that's bad. That's bad. You know what? You're probably right. Jaden Daniels, even without him being in the game. Collinsworth will talk about minors penetrating the D and gaping holes open for the run game. Yeah, that seems like it is probably going to be the case. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, it seems like it could be the case. Don't forget, Cookie minors slamming, guys. Oh, yeah, I hope y'all are ready for that. But either way, it looks like Abdul Carter is not having that bad of a year. It looks like he's not having like a horrible year, but it looks like, yeah, you would probably expect something better than like third overall. But, I think it'll click. It's still an adjustment to the NFL, even for a guy who is a can't miss edge prospect. Yeah, exactly. Like the NFL season is much longer than college. And you know what? There's more to it than just go out there and sack the quarterback. There's more than just go out there and use your natural athleticism. You got to be 1,000 times smarter on defense and not only 1,000 times smarter on defense, but rushing the passer because obviously NFL offensive linemen are a lot smarter and a lot more well versed than NFL or than college linemen. So, yep, and this seems valid. Like young teams, I feel like really, really start to fizzle out in the back half of the year. I would say. Because of the fact that the NFL season is so much longer than college football. And yeah. So yeah, that seems pretty valid. That seems pretty like I could see that. Carter is a can't miss pick when clearly he can miss. He has all year, even when with playing with all the talent the Giants have on the D line. Yeah, he doesn't have the luxury of blaming the ecosystem. He doesn't have the luxury of blaming like the ecosystem of being like, oh, okay, what am I trying to say? He doesn't have the luxury of being like, okay, the guys that I'm playing against are not that good, or I'm playing with are not that good. Like that's what I'm trying to say. He doesn't have the luxury of that. He doesn't have the luxury of talking about that or anything like that because I mean, you have Dexter Lawrence, you have Darius Alexander, you have Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau playing alongside you. So I guess it is what it is for Abdul Carter right now. I mean, it took Benito a year to get used to the NFL style, but he also played like 30% of his snaps his rookie year. Yeah, you're right. And what am I trying to say? There was a point I wanted to make. Yeah, Benito, he was like, he came on in an interview. I forget who he was with, and he was like, "Dang, am I like gonna get cut? Like, am I a fit for the NFL level? Like, am I gonna work out here?" And then he was like talking about going on Twitter and seeing stuff like Nick Benito was a bust. Nick Benito was a bust. I remember during the 2023 season, after they sent Frank Clark and Randy Gregory to the Shadow Realm, I remember after that, I was like, all right, Benito and Cooper, they're going to take over, but our edge room needs a Robin, not a Batman. And it turns out those guys are both closer to Batmans than Robins. What if Carter's one of those players that made it, but then relax and feel like they don't have to make it anymore like they were in college? There might be some validity to that. Like, there might be some validity to the fact that he probably thought he could just walk into the NFL. And these guys, they've been the best athletes all their lives, especially a guy like Abdul Carter. I can promise you he was the best athlete on his high school team, best athlete in his middle school team, best athlete on his college team. We know that for a fact. He almost single-handedly won them the semifinal game last year against Notre Dame. But even just going beyond that, yeah, like you are correct. There might be something to that. And you know what? There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of rookies that just simply don't want to put the work in. And, quarterback's one of those where it's pretty easy to tell right away. But edge, that's a position where it's whatever. Benito's so damn good. He's starting to do the little things at an elite level, and it's only his third year. He's going to be a star and maybe reach Von Miller level one day. Yeah, I mean, he is a budding superstar here. And, obviously the breakout last year helped. I think, a lot of people criticized him for only having production when the games were out of hand one way or the other last year. And then I was just like, dude, what are we doing? What are we doing going on here and talking about him becoming the next Vic Beasley? Like, nah, we just can't do that. Can't do that. We ain't doing that here. Looking at my computer. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Set. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the game tomorrow. Are you guys feeling good? Are you feeling anxious? How are you feeling about this game? Y'all ready? Y'all ready for an absolute dogfight? Y'all ready for a slugfest? I'm just excited that we get football again. I think it might be a trap game. I mean, I'm nervous about it, but like Cobra says, I'm not too worried. Because like I said, I mean, if you are worried about this game, it's only because you're human. And it's okay. I mean, we don't forget Washington gets paid too. We got some mixed opinions. Feel like the game won't be close at all. What's up? What's up, bro? I wouldn't say I feel like this game won't be close at all because we're usually not the team that starts fast, if that makes sense. We just do not start fast for whatever reason. Then again, I'm hoping to give Quinn another 20. If we imagine 28-3 all over again, that'd be crazy. I don't know if I could take winning a game like that. Just being so for real. That's funny though. The bad weather sucks. We'll make it low scoring and closer than it should be. Yeah. I had a dream that the Broncos lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. Oh no. So did Devontae Adams. That's sad. I know, but yeah, the bad weather is pretty unfortunate. It's definitely an equalizer for the Commanders. Show. Just score 30 plus, and I'm happy. Don't really care how it looks. Obviously, I want to see 4 quarters of solid offense, but I have trust in the defense. Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people criticize Sean Payton for playing like so defensive or so conservative, and I'm just like, dude, with our defense, like playing conservative is not the wrong call. I don't know if we're gonna do 30, but because last year's team, anytime we played a bad team, we absolutely beat the nuts off them. Doesn't seem like that's the case this year, unfortunately, but it'd be pretty cool. If Daniels was their QB, then I'd be more worried. Yeah, I agree. But then they get Terry McLaurin back. They do. The weather and that shit field at FedEx is a handicap for the Broncos. Unfortunately, you're right. And shit stadium. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, as is tradition with Washington Commanders games, I think there's going to be plenty of orange in the stands. I think there's going to be a lot of orange out there in the stands. Because, you know what, they get invaded by all these teams, and it's funny. It's just funny. So, Sean is elite at taking the points. Dan Campbell hasn't done that, and it's costing the Lions. Yeah, there's been a couple times where he haven't taken the points, and I've been like, man, a lot of people wanted to point to the Cincinnati game over the offseason as, we should have gone for 2. I don't agree. Like, you're thinking about the Cincinnati game from last year. Everybody said we should have gone for 2. I don't agree. And I think it proved to be the right call. We made Cincinnati punt in overtime, but the offense couldn't finish it off. Let's remember the last time the Broncos played the Commies. We were one non-DPI call away from a win. Yeah, the Sam Howell the Sam Howell game where we got dunked on by them. That was painful. But the last time, we played them here back in 2021. And I remember Justin Simmons got a pick on Heineke, I want to say, to steal the game for us. Then before that, I think it was 2017, Kirk Cousins. I'm trying to think. He went off that game, I remember. Then before that, it was the RG3 game where Terrence Knighton hurt RG3, and then we never heard from him again. Interesting history between these two teams that don't match up very often. And let's not forget that their GM, Adam Peters, is our guy. He was like LA's assistant GM. But going back to this point, I didn't hate the decision for Detroit to go for it on that third down. Here's why. So if you take the points, it is very true that you know what, you made it a one possession game. That being said, first of all, Jameson Williams, he had the ball in his hands. He should have dropped it. Jared Goff should have made a better throw. I don't agree with a lot of the criticism that Dan Campbell's getting a lot across the NFL right now. Oh yeah, I remember that too. Week 3 last year versus Tampa, we were 0-2. Yeah, the stadium was mostly Broncos fans. I remember Joel McLaughlin's play that game. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Then I remember our pass rush really, really got after Baker. Except, I mean, coming into that game, I had a good feeling. I knew Sean Payton would turn up against the NFC South. And we went 4-0 against the NFC South last year, and we just beat the shit out of every team that we played against. Hold on. There's an lineman in the draft coming out that you guys should see. I'm sorry, but there is zero chance this guy's not just an absolute stud in the NFL. Check him out. There is zero chance this guy is just not an absolute demon in the NFL. First of all, his name is Jennings Dunker. We can sweep the NFC East tomorrow. God, if that happens, I'm trying to think. Then we would have one loss to the NFC ever since Sean Payton became the coach. Yeah, I know. This was somebody that my boy Marquee Sports had talked about during his draft show. And he's definitely a good idea to potentially move on from Powers if that opportunity does come up for us, or if we do decide to make that call. I love this guy. Just look at him. Just look at him. Yeah, he probably would be better at guard in the NFL, or at least that's what a lot of the smart people I follow say. Yeah. Yes, back-to-back NFC division sweeps. That would be gangsta. Obviously, job's not done yet, but hell yeah. Nice mullet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Black from the Steelers. That would be funny. Either way, I'm going to go to PFF real quick. A lot of people are talking about the draft, and I'm not here to do that yet because we have a game tomorrow, and it is still November, and we are a 9-2 football team, so we're not talking about the draft, at least not yet. Let me pull up some numbers. All right, I'm sharing this from Mile High Report right now. Watching Dunker's highlights this morning, this guy's a road grader. Oh my god. Him and Quinn on the interior, that'd be so sick. Okay. So, Broncos are back from their bye, and here's the line right now. Broncos 5.5 point favorite. The line actually has swung towards in favor of the Commanders. We opened as a 7.5 point favorite earlier in the week, I saw. Yeah. Nick Gargiulo shouldn't have cut his hair too. Dude, I know, right? Nick Gargiulo would be sick on this team if he hadn't gotten hurt. You guys ever watch that PFF show with those two guys? That's NFL Stock Exchange. I'm really close to a lot of people that watch that. I don't tune in like regularly if that's what you're asking, but every once in a while I'll throw them on like for background noise. But I mainly do that during draft season. But yeah, They put out some interesting stuff that hits my algorithm, like how to rebuild the Jets, how to rebuild the Browns and the Raiders, and a lot of people really like them. So credit to them. I think their stuff is good. I just don't, for whatever reason, I just don't really tune in that much. But I like them. Maybe the line has shifted towards Washington. Maybe people are betting, with the bad weather, with the Broncos going to the East Coast. Yeah, a lot of people in Broncos country are feeling pretty good about this. Like the staff from Mile High Report is all predicting the Broncos to win, and none of these are very close at all. The closest game that is being projected is a 14-point victory for the Broncos by Saturnine on Mile High Report. But yeah, do we have any other stuff? Broncos should dominate in DC. Let's see what Lori Lattimore Volkman is saying about this. Broncos are 9-2. How good is the life for a Broncos fan right now? Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention we're wearing these jerseys. We're wearing these kits. Hold on. What do you guys think about the drip tomorrow? I don't really love the orange pants, if I'm being honest, but the blue socks are tough. I would love for us to beat the Commanders 33-7. Give them some nice revenge of that Russell Wilson non-Hail Mary game. All out orange on the road is pretty gangster, I will say. Especially because it's going to be primetime tomorrow. That's going to be pretty sick. The last time we wore these uniforms were the game against Atlanta. I mean, I don't think the kids look dumpy. I think the pose, maybe Greenlaw looks like he's shitting right there. But yeah, last time we wore orange on the road was the Bucks game week 3. True. But the last time we wore this specific uniform combination, the blue socks with the all orange, was week 10, I think, against Atlanta last year, and we blew their doors off. No, we wore orange against the Colts this year, remember? Because Indianapolis had their whiteout game. I'm gonna be honest. I wish we wore blue for that one. I wish we wore our blue, even though I know we played against the Bengals and did our blue or whatever. But yeah, I like the white pants with the orange top. Got to be honest. I'm not a. Got to be honest. I just don't love the orange pants. Yeah, the Summit orange is pretty sick. Can we officially clinch a playoff spot next week? Let me look this up because I haven't thought about. Playoff clinching scenarios have crossed my mind, but I don't. But I haven't really looked too much into it. Okay, so going on Bleacher Report right here, it says there are no teams that can clinch right now. Okay, the only team that's eliminated is the Giants. Okay, there's no teams that can clinch a playoff berth, but the Patriots could wrap up their division in 2 weeks. That is crazy to think about. That's absurd. That's absurd. Okay. Okay, so there are 6 teams that can be eliminated. I think it would be comical if the Raiders got eliminated tomorrow. So the Titans, if they lose tomorrow, they're out. If the Jets will take some things. All these happen, so the Cardinals are basically eliminated if Tampa takes care of business. So this isn't going to happen, but we could have had a chance to end Washington's season as well. But yeah, dude, that at a certain point, what I would do there is if I were the coach or like the owner, I would be like, can you move our bye to week 18 so we could just move our week 18 matchup to week 14 so that we can just get out of here and go home? Yeah, that's so tough for them. I think if we beat Washington, we are officially a 99% playoff lock. Yeah. I don't even know what would have to happen for us to miss, but yeah, I think we're a 99% playoff lock right now, but not technically, of course. We still have some things to get done. So yeah. We still have some moves to make. All right, let's see what's going on with my computer. 11-2 win versus Washington in Vegas puts us in. I think you're right. I think that clinches us, and then I don't know. The one seed scenarios will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see like the West clinching scenarios because the Chargers could go on a heater. The Chargers could go 12-5 and not win the division, or 13-4 and not win the division. But then again, we'd have to beat them on our home turf, week 18, just to make sure that happens. But the Chargers are starting to charger. Yeah. Dude, you're telling me. Clinching playoffs in early December is riveting. It is very, very. Does anyone agree that the new orange uniforms are a little bright, seem a little fluorescent? Let me go back to these real quick. I wouldn't say too bright. Something about it just doesn't feel right to me. Like, I like the white. I like the blue. I'm going to be honest, I'm not crazy about the orange. I'm not crazy about the orange. The orange just screams like inconsequential game to me, which I don't know why I think that way, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the orange. Like, I love the navy. I love the midnight navy, and I love obviously the throwbacks, and I like the summit white. I think the old white was better, but yeah, but I'm about to get an orange jersey. I haven't decided who it is yet. I think it'll be Abram Strain. I'm probably gonna get an orange Abram Strain jersey, and then arriving from China here pretty soon, I have a Palczewski jersey and a who else did I order? Hufunga jersey. Oh my god, I really wish they did the road throwbacks. Oh my god, I wish. Ignore the fact that Levi Wallace is the player that's on this here. Justin Simmons, here we go. Yeah, man. Oh my god, I love those. Oh yeah, reporting eligible. Alex Palczewski. Yeah, man. Imagine if we could wear these. Because the Chiefs, in my opinion, they have the worst branding in the league. Terrible logos, terrible name, hideous logo. So we need to balance that out with some actual drip. Also, just let me know, do you guys like the Bronco head logo or the D logo better? I like the D logo better. Like, I know the Bronco head is pretty iconic now, but I love the D logo. We don't give a damn for the whole stage. Cobra loves the D. Skip Bayless said it to keep to leave George Pickens would cook him in his prime. Classic Cowboys fans. Yeah, that's about as Cowboys fan as it gets. The thing about the Raiders uniforms is at least I think they're iconic. I at least think they're like iconic and classical because I still very respect the Raiders as like a historical franchise and what they mean to the NFL. I don't respect the Chiefs uniforms. They're gross. It's just disgusting. Terrible branding, terrible logos, terrible uniform, terrible name. Yes, that's why. Yeah, I thought we were going to wear our throwbacks too, but I think it's honestly good that the Broncos aren't wearing the same uniforms that they wore that day that they played in. Or hold on, it's good they're not wearing the same uniforms that they wore that day for obvious reasons. But this is what Washington will be in tomorrow. Yeah, so this is what they're going to be in. Wouldn't it be hilarious if their jerseys said Redskins on them? It would be, I don't know why. I just think that would be comical. But yeah, no, I get what you're meaning. I get what you're saying. I take it back. The Cardinals uniforms are dog caca. I don't love them, but I like their black. I don't love their white. I thought that one they had earlier this year when they played Seattle, I thought they basically made a uniform that made it look like they had sprinkles on their jerseys. Like I get it, they wanted like desert branding and they wanted like the sand on it or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. They should have used the D logo with the modern horse head through the D. Wait, I think I know what you're talking about. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. You're right. Great history, terrible future. You're right. Hate the Raiders, but they have a great history that needs to be respected. Yeah, man. Like I really, really like what Al Davis did for the NFL. Very much respect him. His son has no idea what he's doing. But, guys like Pat Bowlen, guys like Jerry Jones, guys like Al Davis, you could say whatever you want about any of them, but the reality of the situation is the league is not what it is today without any of those three guys. Prime time before primetime game tomorrow. Let's go, boys. Yeah, we're getting hyped in here. I'm trying to find this Broncos logo mashup. Here we go. All right, guys. This one is going to be, how do I put this? Controversial. This one might be a little controversial. Let's see. Oh, yeah. What y'all thinking about? What you guys thinking about this one? Is this what you're talking about, Derek? It looks like the horse saw like something and was like being like, ew. It looks like he's like, oh, gross. Isn't that funny? Pat Bowlen didn't like the skinny horse legs. Yeah, he didn't. He said, didn't he say to someone, I want a horse that looks like it's going to kick your ass? It's very controversial to say the least. Would rather just a head logo. Don't hate it. Hold on. Let me show your comments back on here. We need more owners like that nowadays. We already have one of the most iconic owners in professional football in the modern era, and his name is Greg Penner. I'm gonna watch Bo Nix highlights to hype me up. Oh yeah, hell yeah, man. Hopefully we get a get right game from the offense to steamroll the rest of the season into that playoff push 100%. And it's crazy just to say I think our get right game may have been Kansas City because we looked like an entirely different unit. Packers fan here going to the Broncos game week 15. I hope they wear the throwback unis. So we actually are not wearing our unis. We know that we're going to be wearing them one more time this year. It's going to be week 18 against the Chargers. They already announced it. But either way, I hope you have a great time at the game. I hope you walk out sad, but I'll be there too. So mile high salute to you, Akaza Films, for thank you for stopping in the stream. It's early, but our owners are great so far, dude. You're telling me. Like when Walmart bought the team, I was really skeptical on what they were going to look like. But the reality of the situation is, holy cow! Like I have been so impressed, so impressed with our owners. Like it's like bewildering how impressed I am with them because they do community things, they do. Shit, what am I even talking about? They do just a lot of nice things in the community, and You could tell that they bleed blue and orange too, which is awesome. And they want the best product for their team. They're willing to use their Walmart money to upgrade the fields. And, entirely private financed new stadium, new state of the art stadium. So that's crazy to me. And they've done all the right things. Like a lot of people were skeptical when Walmart bought the team, but they've done nothing except for the right things. What do you think about the Cats beating down ASU? Chance for a 10-win season. What a job by Brennan. What a job by Brennan. What a job by Brent Brennan. And the defensive coordinator on Arizona, I forget the guy's name off the top of my head, but he legitimately deserves coordinator of the year. He has done such an amazing job with the secondary. Traden Stukes, Dalton Johnson, Jedison Smith, those guys are absolutely legit. They got tons of money. They do. They have a buck or two for sure. They have a buck or 3 trillion just sitting in their bank account. Our owners make the news for all the right reasons. They basically do make all the news for all the right reasons. And it's just so sick that we have owners that are willing to be this good at what they do. Like, I think Penner was the chairman of Walmart before that. Michael Dansby, the best in the room. He's underrated. Yeah, I can't wait to get the all 22 from Arizona this season and like make content about which guys I think would be the best. Because honestly, not that we need to get rid of him, but I do think we can upgrade from the third safety spot. Now, granted, ideally I don't want us to have our third safety on the field. I'm telling you right now, guys, PJ Locke is not that good. He plays special teams, but PJ Locke was a big reason why we gave up a lot of yards in a lot of games at the end of last year. So, yeah, I think we can upgrade the third safety spot. I don't know if it's entirely necessary. Like, PJ Locke, I'm not one of those guys where I am with Kroll, where I'm just like, if I see him on the team next year, I lose all faith. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever, but yeah. I think you guys get what I'm getting at. There's no way we could have signed all these players without the Walton family. Would have never had the cash on hand if needed, if it was in the Truster Bowl. And I think there are just a handful of NFL teams that make transactions like these with money in mind. Because I don't know if you guys know, but when you sign guaranteed contracts, you have to put all that money, all the guaranteed money in escrow. I don't think it's been an issue for us throughout our franchise history. And I mean, obviously we have the salary cap, so that doesn't go towards it. I mean, signing bonuses and guaranteed money does come straight from the owner's pocket. But with the salary cap, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I agree. I don't think PJ is good enough to be in his secondary. Yeah, he's not good enough to get meaningful playing time. Like, he's good enough to make a name for himself on special teams. I think he's even good enough to be called upon to make a play. But the Hufanga missed one drive this year, and the Jets got into the red zone, and they did nothing else the entire rest of the game. So that tells you how important Talanoa Hufanga is to this defense. But yeah, PJ Locke is not good enough to cover in the secondary. He was a big reason why we were losing games that we should have won last year. I'm talking about Cincy and the Chargers game in particular. I was a big Caden Stearns fan over PJ Locke. See, the thing with Caden Stearns is I don't blame the team for cutting him. You can't make the club in the tub. Isn't that what the thing is? It's one of those things where, unfortunately, I think Drew Sanders might be heading in this direction too, where it just might be best for everybody to just, start fresh, clean slate, whatever. I think Jones is a free agent after next year, so replacement safety probably needs to be drafted this year. You are correct. And safety is not a very valuable position, but I really, really hope Jones gets the extension because, he's just one of those guys that during the games, I'm just like, or immediately after the games, I'm just like, wow, I didn't have to think about Brandon Jones once. And you know what? It's just been that way his whole time here. The only time I notice him is when he gets a pick. That's good. For a DB, that's a good thing. So, yeah. Brandon Jones, what a signing, man. I hope Brandon Jones is here for a long time. But yeah, if they don't think they're close, then I don't think they're going to re-sign JFM. I don't think they're going to extend JFM because check this out. Check this out from Luca Evans. This is big. Not to say that something feels unlikely, but the fact that they didn't even talk to him makes me think that he's probably getting 20 a year on the open market. He's probably going to get 20 a year on the open market, and we're just simply not in a position to do that. We already have 3 really big D-line contracts, and one small to medium-ish one. Then we have Waziriki up for an extension next year. Actually, we have 2 smallish to medium-ish ones, DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach. I think JFM extension is just an over-extrapolation of resources. I really do. And it sucks because JFM is really good. And, there's always the risk of, oh, what if Savion doesn't pan out? But I think we'll be fine ultimately. Brandon Jones, to me, kind of represents everything about what this defense is. Besides PS2 and Jade Barron, you're looking at primarily 4th, 5th, 6th round guys. I'm trying to think. So Cooper's the 7th rounder. I'm thinking about all our starters. DJ Jones, 5th rounder, 6th rounder, something like that. Zach Allen, 3rd rounder. I'm trying to think. We have medium-ish pedigree guys on this team, but Brandon Jones was kind of an afterthought, and you had to take $7 million a year to sign here, which for a safety, that's not a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to see PS2 injured either, but man, it feels like we really did not miss a beat without him. Besides Riley Moss getting flagged 18,000 times, we did not miss a beat without him. JFM is at the tail end of his prime. He is. Yeah. I still think we should ride out those years, even if you think he's falling off a cliff or whatever, even though I know that's not what you're saying. I still think the prime and the end of his prime is worth having for this team. But going back to this comment, the thing I'm really most proud of throughout our time with or throughout watching the Broncos over the past 3 weeks is Jade Barron, man. Jade Barron, he showed that he is every bit worth the pick that we made. And yeah, man. Jade Barron was every bit worth that pick. He's so good. He's so good. Riley is a bit too handsy, he is. And they made him practice with boxing gloves on so that he couldn't grab. And that's what sucks is that I feel like, he's not being fairly officiated, but also he needs to do a better job of putting himself in those situations. He needs to do a better job of putting himself in those situations to where he's not, a lightning rod for the officials. And it does suck, but it's just the reality of the situation. Yes, is he being officiated fairly? No. No, he's not. He's clearly being targeted. It's clearly, I don't know what it is by the NFL. I think race has something to do with it. But at the end of the day, he is being targeted by the NFL. And he's not doing anything to help himself. So that's where you just got to look out. You just got to look out if you're, what's his name? If you're Jade Barron. Or if you're Riley Moss. Stranad needs more snaps. I know Singleton's the green dot, but to be the lone out there on 3rd down is crazy to me. Yeah, that's crazy to me too. Luckily, they're doing a better job of hiding Singleton on early downs. And I think as the season progresses, I think you're going to see Greenlaw primarily get this responsibility. I think, they were kind of trying to ease Greenlaw back in, and, he's had now 13 extra days to recover. So, yeah. It's embarrassing. The camera's cut to Riley every time there's a flag on defense. Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of what Bowles dealt with early in his career. Are you doing anything to help it? Not really, but at the end of the day, you are being singled out. And it does suck, but it is what it is. But It is unfortunate, but well, such is life. Such is life, I guess. Jade's so physical. I don't know how he's so physical without getting flagged because he's physical at the line of scrimmage. I think he does a really good job of letting those guys go, especially because he's primarily Jade primarily lets go. Riley keeps riding the dude. Riley keeps hanging on to the guy even when he doesn't need to. I love his tackling. It looks like it hurts for the or cuts for the other player. You're talking about Jade or Riley? Because I like both their tackling, but yeah, in particular, I really, really like Jade's tackling. I forget who it was, but there was somebody who was like doing draft evals. I think it was Ryan Harris, and he said, "Man, I've been, doing these draft evals in Denver media for a decent chunk of time now." And he said he was the only guy who I had ever seen that did not miss a tackle. And he was talking about him in Texas. Where's Wattenberg for centers? Middle of the league, top 10. I'd say probably without looking at anything to back this up, I'd say probably, yeah, like top 10, maybe if you're being not generous, but if you're being optimistic, maybe that. If you're being pessimistic, maybe like, I don't know. There are probably some dudes that I know that would have him as like a bottom half center, even if I don't agree with it. But probably like 17, 18 at the very worst. But the reality of the situation is it's a scarce position right now where a lot of the guys that have played center are just not performing as well as they used to. We've had Jason Kelsey retire. We've also had some pretty big guys moving. He's top 10 in pass blocking. I think he's a lot higher in pass blocking than that, actually. Like, I think he profiles very well in the pass block metrics. I'd say probably top 5, but yeah, like the run blocking is what you really need to. The thing you need to realize about his run blocking is, was it good to start the year? No, but a lot of people have kind of even ever since the extension has been signed have kind of been singling out his run blocking, and I don't think that's fair. Ever since the Cowboys game, I don't think that's valid. Now, if you had problems with Wattenberg going up to the Giants game and maybe even during the Giants game, then I don't fault you. I think that everything about his poor play this year had been validated, but he really, really turned it on the past how many weeks? Probably 4 or 5 weeks. Jade is really, or no, Luke Wattenberg has really turned it on as a center throughout that time. So yeah. The Chiefs were literally using the third and the long to chuck the ball downfield at Riley. At worst, it's a pick. And it's like a punter or PI. Yeah, that's the thing that sucks is that I think if Riley Moss is going to get flagged for all these things, I think he kind of needs to reinvent his game a little. I think he needs to attack the football, even if that means a higher risk of getting burned. Because Riley Moss has only had 1 pick. And I think that he should have to adjust his game to, avoid being more so handsy with the receiver. And like I said, the Worthy one was valid, but the Hollywood Brown one, like the one where you're draped all over him and the ball's not catchable, like what are you doing, man? Like, listen, Riley Moss is my favorite player because I believe in equality. I 1000% believe in equality, so don't get anything twisted. But I can't deny, like, there are people who just flat out defend him with like everything they say, and I'm not one of those people. Even though he's one of my favorite players on the team, I can acknowledge that there's a problem. And you know what? We can blame whoever we want, but at the end of the day, he needs to do better. Both Moss and Jones are free agents after next year. Who are you signing? Yeah, it's got to be Brandon Jones. The reason it's got to be Brandon Jones is because you have better depth behind Jade Barron or behind Riley Moss. I mean, like if you're going to be missing Brandon Jones, you are probably screwed. I'm going to be honest. Like, we are not going to win. If something happens to Jones or Hufanga this year, we are not winning the Super Bowl. Like, I'm just being so for real. We are not winning the Super Bowl with PJ Locke as our third safety. We're just not. We're not winning the Super Bowl with PJ Locke being a starter on the defense. We just aren't. Now, I would have said the same thing about Singleton first month of the year, but hey, he's held his value and he's held his own ever since a very disastrous first month of the NFL regular season. But yeah, no, I don't know how it's not Jones. Like, you obviously spent a first round pick on Barron, and Chris Ames-Drain has done nothing except make plays whenever he's been called upon. Also, Ohio State beat Michigan today. And I have over 100 cousins in Ohio that are like huge OSU fans, that are like huge OSU rednecks. And one thing I think that's so funny is that they always say, we don't care about Michigan because we're from Ohio. I'm like, dude, Ohio is so D tier, and Michigan's an S tier state, I got to say. Michigan truly is a S tier state, I think. But yeah. What do you guys think of the flag planting stuff? I think the flag planting stuff is so odd. It's so tacky. Like, why is this even a thing? Like, just win your game and just get out. Like, you realize if we win an Arrowhead and plant the flag in the middle of their logo, like, it's just rubbing it in, man. We actually do have a couple nice running backs in this draft. We have Algier, we have Brees Hall, we have Kenneth Walker. So yeah, rolling with Dobbins for one more year in a draft pick is a pretty good idea. But I think they should do what they did back in 2018, which is, all right, they drafted a running back in the 3rd round, they drafted one in the 7th round, and they drafted a couple of UDFAs. The thing I was most disappointed about with our running back room this offseason was I'm a little disappointed Jaleel is still on this team. Not because I don't think he provides something, because he has truly proven me wrong. Like, before the Chiefs game, I was like, he literally doesn't provide anything. I forgot how fast he was, just plain simple. But I think I was a little disappointed that okay, if you're not going to draft one, go heavy on UDFA. You should have brought in Rocket Sanders, Land Larison, a couple of those other guys. And yeah, overall, I think that's something that we really missed out on. Now, obviously, it worked out with Dobbins being as good as he was this year, but what would have happened if a team had called him in May and been like, "Hey, you want to play for our team?" He could have been like, "Yeah, of course." So, Ronald, but to answer your question about Dobbins, I don't know why I'm yawning, but to answer your question about Dobbins, I hope we do re-sign him. I hope it's a very incentive-heavy contract. I hope it's a very incentive-heavy contract because, he is at the age where, unfortunately, running backs are starting to fall off a cliff, especially when he's had as many years as he was. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't even address this. The Chiefs were using the 3rd and long to chuck the ball downfield at Riley at worst. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I think Frank Crum's going to be a stud. He's definitely showed on special teams so far. I hope he gets the chance to play some interior next year, even though I know he's like their swing tackle or whatever. I think they're probably going to draft an interior guy, so we'll see. But yeah, I hope so. I hope that he's like the McGlinchey replacement. That'd be sick. Eventually down the line, or Bulls replacement even. The RB from Cedric Alexander. He might be a good pick. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens to his draft stock after the game he had today against Tennessee. As great as this team has been with personnel, the running back room was a head scratcher. Yeah, same with the inside linebacker room. Like, I think you should have brought in more guys. Than you did, but oh well, I'm not paid to make those decisions, so yeah. The running back room was definitely a head scratcher, though. I can agree with you, Derek. I can agree with you, my fellow Arizona Wildcat. How are you guys feeling about Jaleel tomorrow? Like, Jaleel is probably going to be involved in the offense. Like, it seems like they've kind of relegated Bidet to like a limited role in this room, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think Bidet is like that good, so it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I'll go for like 5 more minutes. I'll go for 5 more minutes. I'm gonna do a little stretch here. Denver Broncos tonight. Who are your guys' other favorite Broncos creators? Do you guys watch my boys Marquee Sports and David Talks Broncos? Tough crowd. All right. I'm gonna eliminate that, and I'm gonna full screen my face once again, and we're just going to focus on Jack exclusively. Oh yeah, but I think the part of my nose that needs surgery. I think you can kind of see. Yeah. Are you David Talks Broncos? And if I want to feel good, I'll go to Sports Talk Denver. Your Denver Broncos just got crazy good news. I will say, I know Ben. He is a genius with what he does with the algorithm. Um, it's not in me to be like overly optimistic, but man, oh man, I cannot deny that Ben is so talented. And yeah, man, David Talks Broncos is the GOAT. Truly is. He gave me a shout out when I had under 100 subscribers on YouTube back a little over a year ago. Like, I think it was after the Saints game last year. DMVR, Cecil Andrew, David, and Syndicate. The nice thing about DMVR is they go every day. Same with Cecil Andrew and 104.3. Growing up, I really didn't respect 104.3, especially when I was in high school, but I like Phil and Zach. I got to say, I like Phil and Zach. Now, um, I like them. I like Altitude 92.5 too, especially because they talk about abs and nuggets too. But yeah, Cecil is one of the Denver legends, and same with Mace. Like, Mace is how I got inspired to do this show because he stopped doing Denver football after dark. Yeah, dude, me too. Like, literally just talked about that. Like, I don't know. I think he just got tired of this because I'm gonna be honest. I could see how it could get tiring. I could see how it could get a little tiring doing Denver football after dark, and yeah, but because even me going on here at like 9:30, I'm feeling like afterwards I feel like, whoa, I'm tired, even though I usually don't do anything besides like watch YouTube. I like to watch the Japanese Ninja Warrior before I go to bed, but yeah. I'd like to see more carries for Bidet. He was named the starter last year at one point. Unfortunately was injured the following week. I just don't think Bidet has really earned it. Like, he got a big role in this offense. Being the third down guy, the quarterback protector, whatever. But ultimately, ever since the Chargers game, I really had not been that impressed with him. He just been dropping too many footballs, and I respect what he does on special teams, but he doesn't contribute to this offense. Zach Bye be buzzing lately. If you like David Talks Broncos and you like me, check out Marquee Sports Denver too. That's our boy. Oh yeah. Zach Bye be buzzing lately. Yeah. Zach Bye does feel iconic to me because I remember when I was a junior in high school, I used to listen to Stokely and Zach driving home. I did not like Schlereth and Evans in the morning. I felt like they were just so negative because that was around the time we started to get bad, and they had the worst ideas to improve the team. I like Mike giving crap to Stink Matt Stokely. Oh yeah, yeah. Mace is on the case. OBT BPD. Oh wow, that honestly doesn't surprise me. Wait, yeah, is he employed by Mile High Sports or 104.3? I think both, right? That's crazy to me. Huh. Well, if I ever stop doing these live streams, you know what happened. No, I'm kidding. But that's kind of crazy. Wow. Well, in the meantime, that's kind of why I'm here because I got inspired to do this show by Mace, and like usually I'm like I work at a restaurant, but uh I don't work that many days a week, and I'm usually like making content or whatever, and I'm usually out by like 9:30. Like last night was a late night for me, and I was out at like 10, which is not that late compared to some other restaurants I've worked at. Um, but yeah, that's crazy. Well, I'm here in the meantime. I'm here in the meantime while Mace is getting Denver football after dark put on pause. Yeah, it felt so weird to me. Like he didn't even do like an episode a week or whatever. He just like stopped doing it altogether. So pretty much the free agent class this coming year is really boring. Yeah, it kind of is. But then again, that's kind of what happens to free agency is that you see all these guys that you think are going to hit the open market, and then they created new rules this upcoming year to where the team can literally be talking with the player until they hit free agency. Like the team can negotiate re-signings until free agency, like until that 10 o'clock hour on that Monday or whatever it was, or whatever it is. My birthday, the first day of free agency this year is my birthday, so I can't wait to see that. March 9th. Also, I know I'm starting to get like take this really seriously when I'm already thinking about taking off the draft next year for work and free agency a couple days in free agency for work. So I can already tell that I'm starting to take this a little serious. So yeah, I just wish I was just got done watching. Who do you think we get? Just give me a shot in the dark. Hmm. Njoku. That's somebody that I would keep your eye on. Like, I don't know if they'd add two market contracts to the tight end room, but if you're thinking about just a random, like, throw it out there, shot in the dark, then Njoku is somebody that I keep an eye on. Just got done watching Bo Nix highlights. I'm ready for tomorrow. Hell yeah, man. Guys, I wish I was better at making like actual videos though. Like I feel like I can't be myself when I'm on these videos, and also I feel like most of the people that watch my stuff, they either watch the shorts or they watch the live streams. So when I'm doing my live streams, I feel like you guys hear a lot of my opinions and David's opinions and Mark's opinions. The three main guys I talk to, is Jeremy too of Broncos Unbridled. We do horsepower hour or whatever, and you guys, whatever. You guys see my opinions a lot, I feel. So I'm just like, what do I even post about in the videos? Was hoping not to lose Vance Joseph, but that Giants job seems perfect for him outside of New York media. Yeah, there's a good chance though that they might want like an offensive guy, and I think that might be the scales might be tipped in that direction. But the Giants job, that would be pretty sick because it looks like you already have the franchise quarterback. It looks like you already have just pretty much a lot of the key infrastructure, and you have some guys that haven't really been unlocked yet. You have some guys that haven't been unlocked yet. So that's interesting. Can we trade for rookie Gunnar Helm? Yeah, for real. I'd be interested to see. Like teams rarely ever trade rookies, but yeah. How many games do you go to a year? Usually like 3 or 4. I'm going to the Packers game, and I already went to the opener against Tennessee, and I went to the Giants game. My dad doesn't use the tickets at every game. Like he gives a lot to his clients, but yeah. So as of the Packer game, it'll be 3. Maybe I get lucky and I get to go to the Jaguars and Chargers game. But for the most part, during the dark years, it was usually just 2 or 3. And then I had lived in Vegas for 2 years. So during that time, it was only 1, and it was at Allegiant Stadium. VJ will bring Webb. Maybe. Would be surprised if he does. The Broncos can pay VJ a lot to stay. They can, but ultimately, like guys care about their legacies, man. Like the NFL, hardly anybody that's in it for coaching hardly anybody that's NFL coaches in it for the money, like specifically, I think money is not really a factor during these things. Like I know that unless a guy got really, really lowballed, like to the point where they'd be making more as a defensive coordinator, I don't think like I don't know. Steve Spagnuolo had almost a very similar response where he was just like, you know what, I want to get another chance to be a head coach, but if not, I'm still a blessed individual. Whatever, it's okay. I don't think the Giants will want Vance Joseph. They probably want, yeah, that's where I was headed to. Vance Joseph leaves. We have Jim Leonard. Yeah, he's going to be our defensive coordinator. Although I think, obviously losing Vance Joseph would be very, very huge because I don't think we have sample of Jim Leonard actually calling the defense at Wisconsin, do we? Oh yeah, never mind. He was the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. I don't know why they didn't give him the chance to be the head coach. But yeah, I'm excited about Jim Leonard, like 5'8" Kings. I love my fellow guys who are 5'8" and whatever. And he has taken PS2's game to new heights. He wasn't the defensive player of the year he until Jim Leonard became one of our coaches. And you've had so many guys develop like Jade, like Chris Abrams-Drain. You've had obviously Riley progressing a lot from what he was his rookie year. So yeah, he went from, you can say whatever you want about the Flags, but he went from basically a special team exclusive guy to a mainstay on this defense. And we'll look at Wisconsin defenses under Jim Leonard. So in 2021, holy cow. Holy cow. Hey, yo. Never mind. This guy is cracked. What? Okay. Keep in mind he's in the Big Ten. Wait, hold on. Can I show this? All right, here we go. This is... Wow. Wow. All right, so 2022, 10th in total defense. Like, keep in mind, this is out of like 170 college teams. 10th in total defense. First in total defense. 5th in total defense. 8th in total defense. 41st. First in total defense. Wow. So yeah, you're right, Hydromo. They never gave him the chance to be their coach after this. They let him just go to the NFL and be a defensive backs coach. Or no, they let him go to didn't they go to Illinois? Didn't he go to Illinois after he left Wisconsin? I'm trying to think. That's crazy. But yeah, there's no reason to believe that he can't be one of the game's best defensive coordinators either. I saw Brett Coleman put out a video about the Broncos in July or June, and he said that he thinks that the Broncos have 2 future head coaches on their staff. Yeah. He deserves to be a defensive coordinator. He does. Like, these numbers are just absolutely crazy. And unfortunately, I think he might get poached for that role at some point this offseason with those new staffs. I know Peyton calls the plays, but don't underestimate the importance of Davis Webb. Somebody could easily take him to be an OC for them next year, and he doesn't have any room for advancement in Denver. Yeah, that's a really good point about the advancement. I hadn't even thought about. That's why I love coming on here, is because you get so much opinion, and like I learn stuff from you guys every day, so that's awesome. But yeah, he doesn't have any advancement. You're correct. Vance Joseph, like, let's say Zach Taylor gets fired, like Vance Joseph going to the Bengals, like that's pretty much best case scenario. And then you hire Davis Webb to be your OC. Money. Absolute money. Who is that guy that recommended Pat Bryant to Sean Payton? Let's see. Let's see if I can find anything about it. Probably won't be like easily accessed. Oh, wow. So looks like there was an random AFC scout recommended. I don't know. This is all I could find. At the Senior Bowl, you saw him win with his routes against those DBs. He would immediately win. But sometimes I think if he's really dialed in, he's got some space. He's got to be on the details. Seeing how hard it is for teams to build around the generational QBs make me appreciate Sean and George more. They just need to let RJ and Pat develop and get a tight end. Yeah, what's crazy is that a lot of these QBs that don't get help, a lot of it is because the defense lets them down. Josh Allen had Stephon Diggs, but the defense couldn't get off the field against the Chiefs in their 4 or 5 playoff matchups or whatever. And then Joe Burrow, you see what's going on there right now, and it's just crazy. VJ to the Bengals, yeah, damn, giving the Bengals the actual defense would be really scary. That would be really scary indeed. So, yeah. Got about an hour 30 already wrapped up on Denver Broncos tonight on November 29th, 2025. I know I said like 30 minutes ago that I was only going to go for 5 more minutes, but I feel like there's some new energy in the chat in here, so I'm going to keep going. Hopefully Harvey can have a good game like he did in Dallas. Yes, hopefully. Because that game he had against Dallas was pretty sick. Like the toss where he had the first drive of the game, that'd be so sick. Yeah, I think you're right. I probably just pulled up some BS from ESPN. Bengals gonna hire Josh McDaniels. That would be the most Bengals thing ever because I don't even know if Josh McDaniels would want that because I know that these guys have like massive egos or whatever, but he went to the Raiders, completely ran him into the ground, and then imagine him doing the same thing with the Bengals and them like trading Joe Burrow for like Trevor Lawrence. The Bengals got to be out of T. Higgins after this year. His contract is front loaded. I don't think so. Like, I just don't think after this year, like, there's no way they would just move on from him. Like, maybe even less likely, maybe they trade him, but maybe it is front loaded, but still. $20 million roster bonus. Oh, shit. You know what? You're right. They can move on before the 2026 base salary becomes fully guaranteed. Yeah, but they would need to cut him. That's the thing. Oh. Maybe he did. That, honestly, I think a defensive coordinator's perspective, like, that's interesting because, yeah, no, I think you're right. I think I've heard something similar. It may not have been that specific, but I remember hearing something about that. Yeah, but no, I always thought that defensive coordinators would be like good at talent eval for like wide receivers and seeing like, if you played against them, would they scare you? Maybe he did. Harvey matches Gibbs' size and speed perfectly. There's no reason he can't develop into a similar player. That's the thing. I'm like, I wonder why it hasn't fully clicked with Harvey yet. Granted, I have no doubt about the like actual talent or whatever, but yeah, it is weird. Love spitting out my mouthwash from my mini container. Yeah, Zach Taylor is going to. If Marvin Lewis bought himself 16 years, with like being a wild card exit every year, and now you have Zach Taylor who made a Super Bowl. Oh man, Zach Taylor has lifetime job security. Teams are going to bid for him like crazy. I don't know, but I don't know. It's still up in the air if he like hits the open market, but because I don't think the Bengals would. do that, but it is crazy they have an out. Sounds right. Dom Moore's 58. Let me do a little stretch. Man, an hour 35 seconds flies by so quick when I'm just on here by myself. I didn't even share the stream with any of my friends who comment on any of my stuff or anything, but yeah. Wait, this is actually crazy. I wish Harvey could be Gibbs. He honestly just doesn't look like swag and confidence. My dad says he looks like he needs to get laid and get in his bag. Maybe he does, so who are we going to volunteer to get him laid? And so that he can have that confidence. So here we go. This is actually crazy. My boy Marky Sports just sent me this. You guys think Derrick Henry's rushing stats were ridiculous in high school? 67 touchdowns in 2025. One shy of the national single season record. Holy cow.
Trying to respond.
Wait, I got to see this. Dude, what? $4,768 rushing yards this year. Holy cow, dude. Jalil did that? No. No. Yeah, no, this guy's name is Miles McLaughlin. He's from Indiana. I thought maybe he might be related to Jalil because Jalil had some pretty ridiculous rushing stats at Youngstown State at Ohio. But yeah, Broncos going to be the #1 seed after Sunday Night Football. Man, I hope so. Michael West. I love the Chief Wahoo hat in the picture, by the way. Chief Wahoo goes hard. Okay, yeah. He currently holds offers from Ball State. Bro, I refuse to believe that just looking at his stats, that's the best that kid can do. Dude, what? No offer from Indiana? Dude. That's crazy. Do we have the tiebreaker over the Patriots because of the Raiders? I think the tiebreaker will be if you don't play against a certain team is division record. I think that's what it boils down to. And we have lost a divisional game, and I don't think New England's lost any, so I do think they have the tiebreaker over us right now. Now, they do have Buffalo, but I think ultimately New England will still finish the year with a tiebreaker over us with the division because the Jets, they fucking suck. Dolphins, they also are just not worth anything. And we still have one more game against the Chiefs and Chargers each. And I'd be surprised if we won both. Is it division record or conference record? Because yeah, New England lost to the Raiders and Steelers, so okay, so you guys are right. So different divisions. Oh wait. Different divisions, it's conference record, but same division, it's division record. Okay. That's kind of weird they do it that way. Yeah. It is conference record for teams that are like not divisional opponents, but yeah. Because I mean, if we're comparing divisions, ours is so much better. But yeah. Talking about like what are we? Against the conference, against the AFC, I think we're What are we against the AFC? I forget. I'd love to meet the Pats in the Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to be happening. I don't think the Broncos Patriots Super Bowl would be happening. AFC Championship, different story. Yeah, no, I know what you meant. Yeah, you are correct. Ugh. Okay, well, I'm sorry that Seth Yoid and T Fishes finally got in here, but I think I am going to log off for the night. I'll get to a few more of these. It's this Broncos team at least 2 years out of schedule. That is crazy that it is 3 years after the Hackett debacle and the most dead money in NFL history. Oh, shit. I've been here just hosting my wife's birthday. Oh, shit. Happy birthday to your wife, man. Happy birthday to your wife, and hopefully you enjoy having... Hopefully your 10-year-old twins aren't being too big of menaces for you. No problem. I'm drunk. That's funny. But yeah, appreciate you as always, everybody that hops in here. Y'all make this so much fun. Y'all make 2 hours go by like that. So yeah, hour 41 minutes. We did pretty well, didn't we? Either way, I want to say hi to Cobra, Crumble Cookies, Son of Judah, Cairo, all y'all in the chat. Don Mars was cooking tonight. Roan, Feast Mode, Jackson. Yeah, man. Derek, obviously my Arizona bro. Oh, thank you, Seth Yoid. Once again, don't feel like you guys need to donate to me, but I always appreciate you guys because there is no me without you guys. Let's just be real. There's no me without you guys. I'm just being so for real. But yes, later, guys. Later, guys. Let's go get that ring. Let's go kick Washington's ass. And yeah. But either way, I appreciate you, Seth White. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say tonight other than go Broncos. Peace out, fellas.